Let's face it, this is the future of Warzone.
You.
Yes, me. Me too.
Hold on, let's backtrack. I'm LDK, here to talk to you about what's wrong with Warzone. Now, I want to start this off by saying Warzone is one of my favorite shooters to play right now. This video is just me acknowledging its flaws, so don't take it as me bashing the game. I just want to make others aware of the reasons the game is becoming stale to people. Let's start with your typical match of Call of Duty Warzone. You start off the match by landing at your favorite contract. You finish your contract and now you have 10k cash. You head to the nearest shop and buy a loadout. You grab the Growl and the MP5 out of your loadout and go about your business until the first loadout drops. From there, you swap out your class so you now have Ghosts, and you proceed until you either win or lose. You hop back into the next game and repeat what you just did, possibly down to even the same starting location. You most likely pick the Growl and the MP5 out of the loadout because the meta won't let you pick much else. Currently, the loadout choices are the Growl or the M4 and the MP5 or the Vector. Of course you can play something else, but if you want to play optimal, these are the top choices. Then we go to the perk system, and there isn't much variety there either. Each tier has one or two choices that make sense to use. In tier 1, you have Cold-Blooded and EOD. In tier 2, you have Ghosts and Overkill. And in tier 3, you have Tracker and Amp. Now, there's a lot of problems with what I just said, so let's break down the problem with Call of Duty Warzone. For starters, matches have become more of a process that leads to and revolve around the loadout. You can get a loadout very fast to the point that you can have a class before the first loadout even drops, especially if you're playing squads or duos. Loadouts give too much power because you can create a setup that has very few weaknesses. Loadouts wouldn't be so much of a problem though if it wasn't so easy to get through money or free loadout drops. It is really hard to make it to a point where the loadout isn't accessible in some way and hurts the early to late game, making it feel too similar. The ability to do this is incredibly strong and makes matches feel too similar. The need for looting has drastically dropped because you don't need any weapons. The only things you ever need to look for is money, armor plates, and a gas mask. The problem is, you don't have to loot for these things most of the time. All you have to do is get a UAV now and get in gunfights. You will end up getting everything you need from the people you're fighting. So now that creates many useless items and mechanics. No one is going to want to pick up a Burst M4 over their custom Growl. These guns might as well be invisible at this point. Let's talk about the perk system's role in hurting the game. We're going to focus on the tier 2 perks because that's where most of the problem is. Starting with Ghost. Ghost is very powerful in Warzone, but that's not too surprising considering Ghost is usually very powerful. Ghost protects you from two very important and common tactics that rule the game right now. Without Ghosts, you will be subjected to all of the UAV spam and the heartbeat sensor camping. It's like everybody in the match can find you on Google Maps and they will be hunting you down. But we ain't afraid of no Ghosts. What we should be afraid of is Overkill. Overkill lets you control multiple different ranges and situations at the cost of no Ghosts, which is great until you add in the fact that there's a second loadout that once you get it, you will completely get rid of that problem. So now you just eliminated the one flaw to your loadout. The weapon meta is an important piece that contributes to the problem of COD Warzone. There is only a handful of weapons that are being used in Warzone right now. The most popular choice, of course, is the Growl, which causes everyone so much pain. People are tired of the meta right now. You're probably starting to see more things pop up that roughly say something along the lines of Call of Duty Modern Warfare is dying or the problem with COD Warzone. Now, I wouldn't go as far to say that Call of Duty Modern Warfare is dying, but I will say that the problem of Call of Duty Warzone is starting to show, and hopefully will be addressed soon. It seems like the new Warzone patch that's getting ready to come out will have some weapon balancing, which is amazing. It seems like everybody got what they wanted and the ground will be nerfed. And that's great, but all we're doing is adding excitement for a little while and we'll be right back here soon. Because changing what guns are at the top only creates a cycle. There will be a new gun at the top and everyone will complain about it and want it nerfed, because there are other problems with this game that need to be addressed. And I'm not talking about the hackers that are ruining the game right now, even though they are a huge problem and it seems like there's so many of them now. Whenever you watch a stream, there's usually at least 1 or 2 complaints about hackers every other game or so. And when you're playing, you always have in the back of your head that the person that you're fighting could be a hacker. But that's not the problem we're talking about currently. Right now, we're focusing on Warzone's balance issues. One big balance issue is not a problem with Warzone exactly. It's Call of Duty Modern Warfare problems. The weapons in Warzone have too much connection to the weapons in the multiplayer. The guns have the same damage and stats in both Warzone and the regular multiplayer. So that means guns cannot drastically change in Warzone without hurting the balance in the regular multiplayer. So hopefully when they nerf the growl, they don't hurt its viability in the regular multiplayer. But I doubt that would happen considering how the M4 has been handled so far. What possibly needs to happen is a complete disconnect between the two modes. Warzone is already a standalone free-to-play game. We just need to make Warzone completely separate so the changes that we want can happen faster. That way, they don't have to worry about double balancing the 2 different game modes. With the rumors of Warzone continuing in Call of Duty 2020, I would like to offer a fix to most of Call of Duty Modern Warfare's problems with respect to Warzone. Some of these might be pretty drastic or very unlikely, but should be for the better of Warzone. These changes are separate things, so don't think of them as a continuation of the other fixes. And the goal of these changes aren't to overly change Warzone, because at the end of the day, I really do like Warzone. So starting out, the first change that I have is make loadouts give only perks, not a whole loadout. The idea of this change was to fix most of the problems with the loadouts that we mentioned before while putting more emphasis on the loot that's already in the game. The second change is to make it so that players can only pick up 2 guns if they are actually using the overkill perk. Now that means no matter what, the second you stop using overkill, your secondary weapon will drop, but that's only considering if the weapon is part of the primary category. And that change extends to all weapons, not just the loadout. This way, overkill has clear advantages and disadvantages. I feel like these changes are the least likely to happen though. So these next changes are going to be extremely reasonable. The first change out of these is to simply stop players from being able to use multiple loadouts in the same life. That way, when you get a loadout, you have a true decision to make. Do you take a certain weapon despite its flaws? Or do you pick a weapon based off of its strengths? Do you pick Ghost to avoid the UAVs and heartbeat sensors? Or do you pick Overkill to be more versatile? The choice is yours, which is what I feel was their intention in the beginning. The last change is to completely remove the loadout from the buy stations. Now I know that this sounds drastic at first, but remember there are 2 loadouts that you get for free in this game. Considering what the developers have tried to achieve with the loadout so far, this sounds like it's the logical next step. They wanted to not put lower skill players at an extreme disadvantage, so they kept increasing the cost of the loadout. Then they had to balance the price between all of the different game modes, but there's still a minority of players that want the loadout prices to be adjusted again. This change removes all of that work and makes players fight for their loadout with everyone else. After hearing everything, tell me what you think about the problems and solutions. If you feel I'm way off, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe for more Warzone and gaming content. I'll see you all next time. Until then, enjoy the rest of this gameplay.
Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone. in.